Sripada Sharanam Prapadhye, Chapter 17. The Meeting with Sri Namananda. When I was travelling towards Kurungadda, I noticed on the way a woman with dishevelled hair laughing hoarsely and advancing in my direction. She appeared to be mentally unstable. As she came towards me speedily, my heart began to beat heavily. My hands and legs were trembling. Two men were chasing her with sticks in their hands. She came running and fell at my feet and requested me to save her from those two men. Everything was confusing to me. How can a weak Brahmin who does not have even traveling fare protect that woman from strangers in a strange place? I involuntarily said, Mother, don't have any fear. Sripada will definitely protect you from those hooligans. Get up without any fear. Those strangers who arrived there looked at me with surprise. They wondered how this person, who was no match for them in physical strength, not only considered them as hooligans but also assured her with great confidence that he would protect her. They warned, You Brahmin weakling, we want to kill this woman of bad character. You cannot protect her. We have to kill you also if you obstruct our attempts. Keep out of our way decently. I experience that some hidden force has entered into me. Words were uttered from my mouth without any effort and from no thought in my mind. Those words releasing from my mouth were such to push me into a dangerous predicament. I said, You were born as Brahmins, but you have unabashedly killed a cow last night. You ate its meat, drank cheap liquor, and followed all atrocious activities. It is not difficult for people like you to kill me or this innocent lady. I am ready for anything. I am telling you this out of pity for you. You will get leprosy after killing this lady. Those who suffer from leprosy will have abnormal desires of lust. Snakes will not bite a leper. Leprosy can be cured by the medicine prepared from snake's venom. But the procedure for the preparation of that medicine is not known to all. If the lusty desire is controlled and the appropriate medicine is taken, the disease will abate. If you want to suffer from the most despicable disease out of all diseases, you can kill this woman. I am telling you this out of my concern for your well being. Those two strangers collapsed on hearing my words. Wonder of wonders, as some of my statements exactly related to their past. They believed that my forecast would also take place accurately. They confessed their mistakes. In spite of my total ignorance of astrology, I appeared to be a great astrologer in their view. We sat under the shade of a nearby tree. I requested them to give a detailed account about themselves. Then they said, Sir, you know all the three times you are omniscient. Nevertheless, since you asked, we will tell you. We are both brothers. Even though we were born in the Brahmin caste, the Brahmin nature completely disappeared in us. On all counts, we were degraded. We befriended beef eaters. We were accustomed to alcoholic drinks. We committed adultery. We became debased all round with all sorts of bad habits. We saw this lady sitting in a lotus posture on a hillock. We revealed our desire to her. She refused. Since she declined to satisfy our lustful desire, we wanted to enjoy her through physical force. But it was strange that she was coming to our grasp and immediately slipping from our hands. We chased her. Only due to our prior merits we could see you. Then I stated, God gave us discriminatory power to decide what is good and what is bad. We can derive good results if we treat a good path. If we follow a bad path, then we have to invariably experience bad results. This mother like woman appears to be a righteous one. Our mistook her to be a bad character. More than that, you approached her with utmost despicable desires. You are now repenting. I do not know whether the Lord would grant you pardon, but I am giving you a piece of good news. In present times, Lord Datta, who is adored by all three worlds and who is the embodiment of the Trinity, is moving in the world in human form as Sripada Srivallabha. There is no other way except his splendid, prosperous lotus feet to uplift horrible sinners. I heard many of his divine plays. I am going to his present residence at Kurungada. I turned to the women and said, Mother, please tell me about yourself. Then she started her narration. Sir, you have rescued me from these sinners. You are like my father. I was born in an illustrious Brahmin family. My marriage took place when I was quite young. How can I describe my misfortune? My husband was impotent. He was harassing me all the time. I sacrificed all the desires of youth and served my husband, treating him as God. My husband was a sadist. He used to allege that I had extramarital relations with other men. If I decorated myself with flowers and garlands, which are signs of a married woman, he used to accuse me of soliciting paramours. If I shed all decoration, he used to ask me why I was looking like a widow. When I fondled other children in the house, he used to remark that I was feeling sad inwardly because I had no children. When I ate moderately, I was accused of eating like a glutton and wasting money. And when I ate less, I was told that I was acting like that to impress upon the neighbors that food was not given to me in my husband's house. If I undertook fasting, my husband used to castigate that I was secretly chanting some mantra to get rid of him, and that I was fasting to please the presiding deity of that mantra. Even though he was extremely tormenting me mentally, my mother in law or father in law or other elders in the house did not utter a single word against my husband. I came to know through experience in my in law's house how hell could be on this earth. Time was miserable for me in this manner. She continued. In the meantime, an expert in Mantra Tantra Shastras came to our village. It was propagated that he had great scholarship in astrological science. My father in law and mother in law invited him to our house. He made some calculations and conducted some strange rituals and declared that I had misfortune and that my horoscope was filled with many inauspicious features, and that under the influence of my misfortune, my husband became impotent. He advised that all evil effects to the family would disappear if I was thrown out of the house. He asserted that the mantra tantras and the rituals done by him will benefit them, and that my husband would regain his manliness, and that after performing another marriage, he will be blessed with children. The helpless lady continued her narration. My husband, his parents, and all the inmates of the house were merciless and drove me out of the house. Having no other alternative, I started on foot to go at least to my parents' house. On the way, the bogus magician who visited our house accosted me. He wanted to make me a victim to his despicable sexual desire. I was furious like Bhadrakali and lifted a big rock nearby and hurled it at him with all my strength. The rock hit his head strongly and he died then and there. Oh God! Even though I was a woman, I killed a Brahmin under compelling circumstances. I was out of my mind. Even in my parents' house, I now will have to face problems. Even if my parents protect me with utmost affection, there was no guarantee that my brothers and sister in laws would treat me with love. Many people saw me killing the pseudo sorcerer, but they did not know his crudeness. This news spread quickly in all the four directions. Thinking that I should go wherever my destiny leads me, I traveled without any clear direction. Soon I saw a lake. I was very thirsty. I drank water from the lake and quenched my thirst. There was an Audambara tree near the lake. I heard that the Audambara tree was very much liked by Lord Datta. I was overcome with stupor in my body. I gradually fell into deep slumber at the foot of the tree. I got up after some time. I was very hungry. When I opened my eyes, I saw two cobras staying like sentinels on either side of me. I saluted the two cobras and they departed somewhere as if they respected my prayer. I sang, Datta Digambara, Datta Digambara, Jaya Guru Datta, Datta Digambara. I heard from elders that on mere remembrance, Lord Datta will be pleased and will protect the devotees. Fortunately, I was in the shade of an Audambara tree. I got the feeling that I was in the shade of the umbrella of compassion of Lord Sri Datta. A traveler who was passing by listened with rapt attention to my singing of the name of Datta. He stood in the shade of the Audambara tree. I was afraid and said, Who are you? Get out from here immediately. If you will not leave, I will pick up a big rock from here and will kill you with it. I killed a bogus magician a short while ago. Then that new person folded his hands and said, Mother, my name is Ravidasu and I was born in a washerman's family. I am a devotee of Datta. I live in Kuruvapuram. Sri Guru Datta is splendidly shining in the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha to sanctify the earth. He is conveying the good news of his descent through some extraordinary miracles to his devotees spread out at great distances. This is to be known only through experience. I am now going back to Kurvapuram. You can accompany me if you so desire. Kurvapuram is at a short distance from here. I visited some of my relatives' houses here and I am presently returning to Kurvapuram. Then I retorted, I cannot believe your words. It is immaterial who that Sripada Srivallabha is about, whom you are referring. If Sripada is verily the Datta, he would attract this forlorn lady to his auspicious feet and protect her. The responsibility of proving himself truly as Datta rests with Sripada. I won't chant his name. I will only recite the name of Datta. I will see what will happen afterwards. If you do not leave this place at once, you will meet with danger from me. Without uttering any other word, that person went away singing, Datta Digambara, Datta Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Datta Digambara. Afterwards, when I sat cross legged in the lotus posture on a hillock and meditated, I fell prey to those hooligans. You rescued me from them. The women thus concluded. I said, Mother, you were rescued only because of the grace of Sripada. In this creation, there is no country where he does not reside as an indweller, and there is no time where he is not known. In this creation, in different countries and at different times, various incidents occur on the basis of the cause and effect connections. He is the grand cause of all causes. In different countries and at different times, various events take place to facilitate the evolution of the living beings through a variety of states of development. No effect can be found in the creation without a cause. No one knows whether Sripada is attributeless or with attributes, or formless or with form, or transcends all these states. He only knows about himself. If we chant the name of Sripada Srivallabha, we can definitely obtain his grace. We can get release from all difficulties and losses. Thereafter, we travel towards Kurungadda with those Brahmin brothers and that Brahmin lady named Sushila. All of us continued our journey while chanting the names of Datta and Sripada Srivallabha. We appeared like a bhajan group to the onlookers. In the middle of our journey, we reached the hermitage of a great personage named Namananda. Sri Datta, in the guise of an untouchable blessing, Namananda. We understood that Sri Namananda knew all the three times, that is, past, present, and future. He cordially invited us. Namananda said like this: The name of my father is Mayanacharyalu. My name is Shayanacharyalu. We belong to the Bharadwaja lineage. We are Sri Vaishnavas. After entering the ascetic order, I am now called Namananda. Before entering the ascetic order, I visited all the holy places and the Siddha Kshetras in the north with extreme detachment. In my quest for a Sadguru who can uplift me, I came to Pitikapuram on my way. As we were Sri Vaishnavites, the worship of Shiva was not acceptable to us. We strictly observed purity and religious customs. After visiting Kunti Madhava Swami, while I was coming out of the temple, I came across a pariah. The sight of a pariah was unbearable to me. Adding to that, he came close to me and thundered, Namananda, give me Guru Dakshina and then move from here. I was flabbergasted. All the people at the center of the town were seeing this strange thing. People thought that it was one of the abnormalities of Kali Yuga that an untouchable was loudly demanding Guru Dakshina from an orthodox Sri Vaishnava Brahmin. Some others thought that the untouchable who consumed liquor was intimidating the noble Vaishnava. I said, I do not know you. Even so, I am a Vaishnavite Brahmin and you are a Chandala. My name is also not Namananda. It is not proper that you should forcibly demand Guru Dakshina from me. I could not speak more than that. His eyes were red like burning charcoal. His facial expression struck terror in everyone there. He did not yield to my pacifying words and asserted sternly, you are speaking lies, saying that you do not know me. You are roaming like a mad dog, questioning all sorts of sundry people where a Sadguru who could uplift you would be available. Being egoistic that you had a Brahmin birth, you fail to see the truth. I am your Sadguru. I am conferring the name Namananda to you in the ascetic order. Give all the money with you to me as Guru Dakshina and prostrate before me in the presence of all the people and accept me as your Guru. If you do, it is all right. If not, I will cut your body into pieces with this knife and will keep your flesh in heaps. I will drink your blood and I will hit your head repeatedly with a hammer and turn it into a pulp. I will arrest your life from departing your body. I will allow the life consciousness to stay in each severed part of the body so that you will experience excruciating hellish agony. Business with me will be very specific. Say yes or no. Only two words. Even if you pray, not even one among the 33 crore of deities would dare to save you. After uttering these strong words, the Pariah drew out the sword from the scabbard and was about to kill me. Under these unavoidable circumstances, I prostrated to that untouchable. I offered all my money to him as Guru Dakshina. To me, all descriptions about God appeared as fiction. However, upsetting all my thoughts, a charming, bewitching, auspicious figure appeared before me. I felt that endless love and mercy were flowing like a flood from those divine eyes. The divine auspicious figure ever. I am Sri Datta. Presently, I incarnated as Sripada Srivallabha in Pitikapuram. You are mine. I am yours. I am your property. You are my property. That which brought us together in Sachitananda. You will be called Namananda from today on and will teach Dharma and will get eternal peace. You will reach me after your exit from this world. Sripada gives food to Namananda with his own hands. Sir, in this way I became an ascetic named Namananda. I wanted to have the darshan of Sripada in Pitikapuram. I was very hungry. No one was giving me food in any house. People were making strange remarks that I was mad and that a tipsy, drunken, untouchable collected Guru Dakshina from me. They also decided that it was contrary to Dharma Shastra to give alms to me as I turned into an untouchable. Because I accepted a Pariah as my preceptor, even though I was a Brahmin. The Brahmins of Pitikapuram, having resolved thus, did not offer Bhiksha to me. I moved to the house of Appalaraja Sharma without any intentional effort. I was so weak that I could not open my mouth even to cry Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. In the meantime, Sripada opened the door and came out with a plate of food. He made me sit on the veranda of their house and fed me the food with his ambrosial hands. He cleaned my mouth and hands with his own hands. He placed his bountiful hand of infinite strength on my head and assured, "Everything will be arranged for you. There is no need to worry about anything. Can't the Lord who provides food to a frog in the rock nourish you? I will be behind you wherever you are. I will move with you unseen. I will protect you like an eyelid protects the eye." He bid me farewell with those reassuring words. From that day, I became an ascetic and wandered freely. His invisible divine hand is protecting me always. Namananda thus concluded. Four types of Jivan Muktas. I questioned, "Sir, I heard that liberation can be quickly achieved if we worship Sri Datta. Will there be any special procedure of adoration for that? Are we to meditate upon any separate type of mantras? Kindly clear my doubts and help me." For that, Sri Namananda replied with placid countenance, "My child, the destruction of moha, illusion, is moksha, liberation. There is no rule that liberation comes only after death. The body could be experiencing consequences of past actions. Notwithstanding with that, the Jivatma could stay in a liberated state. Such people can be called Jivan Muktas. Salokya Mukti is to live in the world of one's favorite Deva. Those who earn more merits with have the fortune of living in close proximity to their favorite Deva. This is called Samipya Mukti. Those who have much more merits will assume the form of the Deva they adore. This is called Sarupya Mukti. In a much more significant state, the aspirant merges with the consciousness of his favorite Deva. This is called Sayujya. Devotees of Datta who achieved a particular spiritual state can experience Salokya Mukti even while living in this world. The body will undergo the results of past karmas. However, their mind will be concentrated on the lotus feet of Sri Datta. They observe with the inner vision the principles of creation, the niceties of dharma, and the strange and wonderful procedures conducted by creation and enjoy ineffable bliss. All the divine powers of selfless Yogishwaras are utilized for the welfare of the universe without their involvement. There are some people who attain Samipya Mukti while living in this mundane world. They will know the divine Leelas of Lord Datta through their inner vision more analytically than Salokya Mukti devotees. The happiness they derive would be much more when a living being is encased in a body. He would be in a state of enslavement with many qualities, propensities, and desires. As evolution progresses, the living being knows that it becomes lighter. It is an overwhelming bliss when this state of weightlessness is experienced. The divine place of Sri Datta manifest easily through the devotees who are in a state of Sayujya. They stay aligned with Sri Datta's will. Those great yogis who had Sayujya in Sri Datta will not have any will of their own. People who have the fortune of meeting them, touching them, and speaking to them will receive the protection of Sri Datta through these great yogis. Only Sripada can confer abundant wealth related to this mundane world or to the other worlds. Human beings adore different forms of devas. All those devas are divine aspects of Sripada. It is Sripada only that showers his grace through those devas. The significance of adoration of Datta. Then I requested him, Sir, if such is the case, do we have to worship devas in different forms? Or we have to worship Sripada only? You are saying that there is no difference between all the devas and Sripada. Kindly explain this matter more clearly for my understanding. Further, Sri Namananda was pleased and said, once a girl was married and she reached her husband's house. Once her brother went to see her. The mother-in-law of his sister said to him, your sister is doing many thefts in our house. She is stealthily consuming large quantities of milk, curd, buttermilk, and ghee. If it was one theft, I would have overlooked it. Oh, so many thefts! The mother in law made a wailing complaint. Then the brother called his sister and advised her, stop stealing so many things from today on. All these things that you're taking are available as integral constituents of undiluted milk. Therefore, you take undiluted milk in the required quantity. The strengths of milk, curd, buttermilk, and ghee are in the undiluted milk. By consuming that single item, you can avoid the censure of your mother in law. In the same fashion, if you worship Sri Datta, everything will accrue. As people are of different taste, they worship various devas. If Shiva is worshipped, Vishnu will not appear. If Vishnu is worshipped, Shiva will not appear. The grace of the two may be identical. The protection for the devotees will also be similar. The results from the activities of devotion associated with attributes and forms must be in consonance with those activities. Is it not? When the mass of sins committed in many births decrease and when the fruits of merits accumulate remarkably, devotion towards Sri Datta dawns. Therefore, there is nothing impossible to the devotees of Datta. None of the devas have the power to alter the Creator's writing on the forehead. However, Sri Datta, responding to the suffering of a devotee, may order the Creator to erase the writing on the forehead of his devotee and inscribe a new writing of destiny. Vishnu is the cause for the physical, mental, and spiritual states of the living beings. He is the Sthitikarta, preserver, and sustainer. If suddenly the strong power of yoga manifests in a jiva who is not ripe enough, his body or mind or intellect cannot withstand that force and will experience a feeling of being burnt alive in raging flames. Therefore, Vishnu helps the jiva to carry on the life's journey in a proper way and keeps him in suitable states according to his karma. There is no difference between Sri Krishna and Lord Datta. Sri Krishna lifted the Govardhana mountain. This is known to all common people. Nevertheless, in their previous lives, Gopas and Gopis were great hermits. The mountains are yoga grandhis. When the grandhis explode, a fierce yogic power starts dancing. then a Jivatma will experience utmost lightness and ease. From this subtle state, great yogic happiness can be derived. One has to take many births to obtain the subtle state. Sri Krishna carried the burden of his dependents and liberated them to be Jivan Muktas by destroying their Granthis. This is a spiritual secret. Those who look at this with physical vision will only understand that he has lifted Govardhanagiri and saved his people. Therefore, if Sri Datta desires to change the different states of his devotees, he may instruct Vishnu to speed up the progress of evolution, which would otherwise move at normal pace. In this process, he will make the devotee to experience all the troubles that are due to be experienced in a state of unawareness, or as an alternative, Sri Datta shoulders those burdens and responsibilities himself. What a great compassionate one! The main aim of the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha is to prepare over 1,25,000 yogis who experience a state of sayujya with him. If he wants to liquidate the vibrations of all bonds of karma, the aspect of Rudra in Sri Datta will flourish extraordinarily. It destroys all bonds of karma, whether they belong to countless millions of past births or whether they relate to future times, and he will grant redemption to the Jivi, essence of the Jiva. The aspect of Brahma, Vishnu, or Rudra would become explicit and protect his devotee appropriately. All this depends on his resolve. We must follow the path of devotion to generate such a will in him. Once in Pitikapuram, when a devotee of Sripada got upon a horse, it threw him down, crushed and injured him. Sripada showed his hand of assurance towards him, and all those injuries disappeared in a moment. For another who had no faith whatsoever in Sripada, a vessel with 100 varahas was available. Sri Venkatappaya Sresti asked Sripada to explain this inconsistency. Then Sripada explained, "Today is the day of the death of my devotee, but I extended his lifespan by another 20 years. I made this decision as a reward for his single-minded devotion. Today is a day for getting an abundance of wealth for that person who got 100 coins. But because he does not have even an iota of devotion and he derides devotees, I restricted his great fortune of wealth to just 100 coins. I am the servant of servants of my devotees. He is the real emperor who can imprison me in his heart. Even Parameshwara, who is the ruler of the three worlds, will serve such ones as a servant." He elucidated these good things and messages. When Sri Namananda said like this, we all felt elated. The Brahmin brothers requested Namananda to prescribe penitence for their sinful acts. Then Sri Namananda said, "You observe Mandala Diksha, spiritual discipline of 40 days by taking one meal a day. Earn money by undertaking arduous physical labor. Offer food to virtuous Brahmins by spending that money. Then your sin will abate. As a sign of the abatement of the sin, you will get the vision of Sripada. either physically or in a dream. You must remain righteous even after the Mandala Diksha. If you become slaves to your previous habits by accident, you are sure to get enhanced punishment from Sripada. The worship of Anagha Sahita Dattatreya. Dattatreya with Anagha Devi is very sacred. The Brahmin lady named Sushila requested Sri Namananda to tell her about a way to ward off her difficulties. Then Sri Namananda, who was pleased ever, the soul is eternal. The mind dies countless times in a second and takes rebirth. During the sexual intercourse of a couple, if either of them or both of them experience that their mental consciousness was entrapped between life and non life, the child that is to be born will become a eunuch. A person who destroys happy married lives become impotent owing to that great sin. The life as a eunuch will be like a hell. Some of the causes for impotence or for becoming a wife of a eunuch are as follows: separating a loving couple, harassing a daughter in law in many ways by exhibiting the insolence of a shrew, murdering mercilessly infants and women, treating helpless destitutes with cruelty. A man has a right to beget 10 children from a woman. It is contrary to dharma to beget more than 10 children from that woman. After the birth of 10 children, the woman has to be treated like a mother. To remove the impotence and to regain the masculinity of your husband and to enjoy all comforts from a favorable married life, you can perform Anagha Vrata for destroying sins, removing obstacles and fruition of noble intentions, and make Sri Dattatreya with Anagha Devi delighted. Sri Datta will definitely bless you. For those who adore Sri Pada, happiness of this terrestrial world and the ethereal world would shower abundantly. Sri Bapanarya had a vision of his grandson verily as Sri Dattatreya and recited the Siddha Mangala Stotra. The words uttered from an exalted state of experience from the vision of Sri Datta are very powerful. In every word that was expressed, live consciousness will prevail from many, many more eons. Mistakes of grammar are not to be searched in such expression. There are no restrictions and regulations to read this Siddha Mangala Stotra. I was fortunate enough to hear this sacred stotra from the mouth of Sri Bapanarya. That stotra is still vibrating in my mind. Listen to it. Siddhamangala Stotram. Srimadananta Shri Vibhushita Appala Lakshmi Narsimharaja Jaya Vijayi Bhava Digvijayi Bhava Shri Madakhanda Shri Vijayi Bhava Shri Vidyadhari Radha Surekha Shri Rakhidhara Shri Pada जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्रीविजयी भव माता सुमति वात्सल्यामृत परिपोषित जय श्रीपादा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्रीविजयी भव सत्य ऋषीश्वर दुहितानन्दन बापनार्यनुत श्रीचरणा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्रीविजयी भव सवितृकाटकचयन पुण्यफल भरद्वाज ऋषि गोत्र संभवा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्री विजयी भव दोचोपाति देव लक्ष्मी गण संख्याबोधित श्रीचरणा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्री विजयी भव पुण्यरूपिणी राजमाम्बसुत गर्भपुण्यफलसंजाता जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्री विजयी भव सुमती नंदन नरहरि नंदन दत्तदेव प्रभु श्रीपादा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्री विजयी भव पीठिकापुरा नित्यविहारा मधुमति दत्ता मंगलरूपा जय विजयी भव दिग्विजयी भव श्रीमदखण्डा श्री विजयी भव श्रीपादराजं शरणं प्रपद्ये Meaning of the above hymn 1. Victory, victory, universal victory, supreme abounding victory to the eternally auspicious, richly decorated Appala Lakshmi Narasimha Raja. Victory, great victory, universal victory, superb, imperishable victory to Sripada, wearing the Sri Rakhi from Sri Vidyadhari, Radha and Sureka. Victory, grand victory, total victory in all directions. Splendid, indivisible victory to Sripada, nourished with the nectar of affection of by Mother Sumati. Victory, magnificent victory, victory around all directions, uninterrupted victory to Sri Charana, the son of the daughter of the great sage Satyarushi Bapanarya, extolled by him. Victory, glorious victory, universal conquest, unfragmented victory to all sacred fruit of Savitrakataka sacrifice hailing from the lineage of sage Bharadwaja. Victory, victory, universal victory, supreme abounding victory to Sri Charana, explaining the great number Dochopati Deva Lakshmi. Victory, great victory, universal victory, superb, imperishable victory to the one born out of great fruit of Punya, to the daughter of the pious personage Rajamamba. Victory, grand victory, total victory on all directions, splendid, indivisible victory to the son of Sumati and Narahari, Lord Datta Deva Sripada. Victory, magnificent victory, all-round victory, unbroken victory to the one always rambling in Pitikapura, Madhumati Datta, Mangala Rupa. May victory shower on Sripada. Sri Namananda explained these ambrosial words to the Brahmin lady named Sushila. My dear ones, if this very sacred Siddha Mangala Stotra is recited, a consequent result on par with performing Anaghastami Vrata and offering food afterwards to 1000 pious Brahmins will be derived. A result equivalent to the one derived by observing Mandala Diksha, taking food once a day, and arranging a feast with the money earned through hard physical labor to 1000 pious Brahmins will be obtained. This stotra will be read by worthy people. By reading this, Siddha Purushas will be seen and their touch can also be experienced. All desires of the mind will be fulfilled. Devotees who worship Datta with pure mind, speech, and action will be pleased by the grace of Sripada as soon as they recite this stotra. Siddhas in the ethereal region would move about incognito wherever this stotra is recited. The removal of impotence by the grace of Sripada. As soon as I heard the nectarious words from the mouth of Sri Namananda, a thought cropped up in me. I said, Great One, we want to spend this night in these holy premises of the hermitage, reciting this divine stotra and in talks about the stories of divine sports and pastimes of Sripada. I submit to your noble kind self to permit us. Sushila and the Brahmin brothers who were with me agreed to my suggestion. The kind-hearted Sri Namananda agreed upon this. All night was spent singing the name of Sri Pada with discourses about his stories of his leelas and recitation of Siddha Mangala Stotra. At dawn, the divine Sri glorious Mangala Arati was offered to Sri Pada. After the Mahamangala Arati, a cart with a double bullock cart loaded with food materials, man came to our hermitage. The cart came told Sushila that her in-laws and her husband would reach the hermitage shortly in another cart. He unloaded the food materials and left. Sri Namananda was in meditation when the cartman came and left. Sri Namananda, after returning to normalcy from meditation, questioned agitatedly, Where is the cartman? When he was told that the cartman already left, he remarked, Oh, what great fortunate people you are! I am the only unfortunate one. All of us were amazed at this lamentation. Sri Namananda said, Sripada is a very compassionate one. He alone came in the guise of a cartman and gave you darshan. Mother Sushila, you are extremely fortunate. The impotence of your husband is removed. Not only that, your husband and in-laws are arriving here very soon in a bullock cart. It all happened exactly as Sri Namananda, who knows about past, present and future, predicted. Sushila left with her husband, father-in-law and mother-in-law to their house. I sought the permission of Sri Namananda to travel towards Kurungadda with the two Brahmin brothers. With his blessings, we proceeded towards Kurungadda. Shripadarajam Sharanam Prapadhye.